Let me ask you this, because I know, again, you are a student of Bob Proctor. So what are some major, you've been listening to him since 2016. What are some major keys that you've learned from some of his teachings that you've been able to apply to this business?
Yeah, there's quite a few. And I can't poke it with a pencil right now on all of them, as Bob Proctor says. Yeah.
The Canadian accent.
And I would say the main thing would be focus, right? Focus on what's important to you. And he teaches ways to do that. And, we hear about writing your goals down a lot just in general. And that's a habit that we must all get into. And for me, it flows in and out sometimes. But he talks about goal cards, right? And goal cards are basically just index cards that you write down your goals on, and you keep them in your pocket. So he calls it a goal card, right? So I carry these index cards. They're 3x5, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but an index card, and you just write down your goals on it, right? And it's what you want. It's the person that you want to become. It's the person, like, exactly how you want to live, right? Where you want to live, the type of person that you want to be, right? And so, you want what you want, and it's all individual. And like, don't be, what's it called? Like, scared to share, like, hey, I want this, right? It's individual. It's like, hey, I want a big team. I want to have all kinds of folks around me. I call it with commission statements coming out of the rear end, right? And that's what I want. And, so write down what you want, write it on a card, read it often. And he says, if you write down, because here's what happens for me, is I write down a big goal and it doesn't, and I'm like, as I'm writing it, or even before I write it, I'm like, nah, that's not no way I can do that. And what's interesting is you just write it out. I had one, I remember putting down, I have $100,000 stacked, right? Just cash. And I remember writing it out and writing it out and writing it out and writing it out. And what happened is it becomes more and more true. He says, if you write a lie on a card and you read it often enough, it becomes true. And what's funny, I wish I did this earlier, is I've been saving my goals for about 3 or 4 years now, and I wish I was doing it from the beginning, right? And sometimes I do see, some old notebooks and stuff like that, and I've seen that I have 10,000 stacked, I have 50,000 stacked, I have 100,000, I have 200, 250, blah, blah, blah. And all of those have come true. But I do remember the thought process of like, there's no way this is going to come true, right? And so when you remain consistent and persistent at attaining your goal of whatever that is on what you want, you will hit it, right? If you have the right amount of action towards that and consistency, right? And that's been a big thing that Bob teaches is, keeping your goals, keeping your dreams in focus, right? Because he talks about visualization quite a bit, and that's a real thing. Right. And it's magic when you write down your goals, right? There's all kinds of other self-development gurus that talk about writing your goals, but I've never heard anybody describe it like Bob has. And what's amazing is I've seen it come true after true after true over and over and over and over again. And it's just unbelievable, really, to see that. And so now I'm more confident when I write down, I'm right here on my goal card, right here. Number 1 is I'm a multimillionaire, and it feels so good, right? There's a little bit of that. Yeah. There's a little bit of that where I'm like, ooh, man, I don't know if I can do that. But there's a lot of me that's like, dude, if you remain consistent, persistent, you keep rocking and rolling, it's going to happen. You don't know when, you don't know where, you don't know from where or how, but for sure, if you keep rocking and rolling, moving towards that goal, then you're going to hit it. Because what are our goals? Our goals are our North Star, right? Have you ever gone through life and you're like, dude, I don't know exactly what to focus on right now, right? Because we're in an age of distraction, right? And if you can remain focused, right, that automatically gives you a massive competitive advantage over almost everybody, right? Because how many people are truly focused right now? Probably a very small percentage of folks. So you can continue to write down your goals, read it often enough, and just keep taking action moving towards that. No matter how you feel, watch what happens.